Welcome back to the 2015-2016 NBA preview. Today we are going to be covering the Utah Jazz, which I have ranked number 20. My name is Josh, your Enviers, and today my co-host.
What up, people? Low, aka Legend of Winning. Is that your tour? Or is that your girl's tour? I don't know why they just popped up in my mind, but yo, me got bodied, and that's real deal, Holyfield.
As I can't talk, let's transition into what the Jazz did.
So last year, and even the season before that, the Jazz have been a team that, for whatever reason, I feel as if they had a lot of potential, but they weren't really, getting the most out of their players. And then I stopped and I thought about it. They do have the one and only, arguably one of the worst coaches in the NBA at the time when he was a head coach, Tyrone Corbin, my goodness gracious. But ever since they got rid of Tyrone Corbin, players such as Gordon Hayward and even both of the Burks have kind of found new energy within their game, and then we've seen a better play out of both of those players, all three of those players. But then out of nowhere, boom, Rudy Gobert pops up on the scene with a gangster lane after Enes Kanter gets traded, and we saw a lot of good things out of him, running the floor, blocking, getting those easy big man shots, throwing lobs, something that I think a lot of teams will want. And he found value extremely fast in the NBA. We'll see how good he really is, and we'll see if he can repeat his performance like he did last year.
Utah Jazz has come a long way from, having Devin Harris, Paul Millsap, and Al Jefferson. So that said, let's take a look at the summer acquisitions by the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz, well, they didn't really have any summer acquisitions, to be totally honest. But they did lose, however, Jeremy Evans, and that was basically all they did. They're the exact same team. With Dante Exum going down, they might have to sign a backup point guard, a backup shooting guard at, around the regular season when it starts, to see if they could actually contend and try to make that 8th seed in the Western Conference.
For all Utah Jazz fans who think that we have them too low, the simple fact that Trey Burke might be starting this year is really
the reason why I had him. Like I love Trey Burke. I just found it that they're the exact same team as last year, without Enes Kanter. Rudy Gobert, he's a beast, but now people are gonna know who he is. They're gonna see his weaknesses, and they're gonna look at film a lot. So they're the exact same team, just without Dante Exum and Enes Kanter in rotation. So that's why we have him. That's why I have him this low.
I just can't do Trey Burks as starting point guard. There's no way Trey Burks should be a starting point guard, and there's not too many point guards out there that, they're basically running out of time to sign a starting point guard. So they're probably going to sign a backup point guard, which means Trey Burke is probably going to have to start. And even if they don't sign, a backup and they get a quote unquote starter, it's going to be one of those washed up players that you're going to receive the keep getting them checks awards, a la Jameer Nelson.
Luke Ridnour, he's still a free agent.
Technically, he is a free agent. I don't think he's really looking to sign just yet, but I'm pretty sure there are players out there. But still, there's not, you want to continue Dante Exum to develop in his game, and the fact that he went down, there's a possibility he could have had a spurt in progress midway through the season, and unfortunately, that just won't happen this year.
I'm pretty sure his rookie season will probably be his worst season in the NBA, but I would have liked to see him bounce back from his rookie season. Speaking of rookies, they drafted Trey Lyles. The starters for the Utah Jazz: Rudy Gobert, Derek Favors, Gordon Hayward, Alec Burks, and Trey Burke.
I don't think people speak enough about Gordon Hayward. I'm going to shout him out real quick. Gordon Hayward, solid player, nice shooter.
Thinks he's better than LeBron James. I like it.
He's supposed to have that confidence. He's supposed to have that in his game.
Great confidence.
That's supposed to be there. Same thing with Brandon Jennings, but they were both wrong, but it's cool. But I don't think he gets enough credit in today's NBA. The numbers that he put up last year, 19 point shooting, like 45%, 36, 35 from downtown.
Is he a swingman?
I think he's good.
Is he a natural shooting guard for this team? I feel like this team would be a lot better if they had size at that shooting guard position and swing Gordon Hayward over.
At the 2, it would make sense to put him at 2 because how well of a shooter he is, but then they would need somebody at the small forward position, and they would probably need defense and someone who can run up and down the floor. Probably help him out
And
with
that
his
person
spacing.
may just be in the draft.
It might be in the draft, but I think Gordon Hayward plays small forward because they really don't have any other answer for the small forward, basically.
If we look at the bench, we got Trey Lyles backing up Rudy Gobert, Trevor Booker, Joe Ingles, Rodney Hood, and Bryce Cotton.
Again, not much really going on. It's practically the same team.
Same exact team. Not much to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. No new faces.
Which leads us to the question. Now, Lo, I know normally this is your segment, and you ask the viewers along with myself about a very interesting question.
Oh my god!
Now, I actually have two questions.
He's calling it audible.
Two questions for you today. You, yourself, Lo, and the viewers out there. Now, my question isn't about the future, but it's going to be about the past.
Okay.
They lost Al Jefferson and Paul Millsap to Eastern Conference teams, both of which have become all-stars in the time that they've left the Utah Jazz. Now, the question is, do you believe they should have kept at least one of those said players for this team to develop more?
Well, looking at that point of time when they got rid of both of them, you had Enes Kanter that was also on the team, and you had Derek Favors, and neither one of them were really getting any minutes. And at the time, it had seemed that, Al Jefferson and Paul Millsap had kind of reached their peak, and so they probably wanted to give, their young players some really good minutes.
But they were incorrect about that.
They were incorrect, and I think it would have been nice for
at least one of them to stay on this team.
And not only really
be the veteran.
Yeah, they do need a veteran, and not really just to stay on the team. I think, like you said before, so they can kind of just help them develop. I think that's what they're missing the most. But you have another question? Because in the general sense, if you look at their team and the talent that they've had over the past 5 years or even 6, players like DeMarre Carroll was also on this team, and they just kind of gave up on him, and he's kind of just moved on. And I'm just like, dang, how could you miss out on potential like that? Even Enes Kanter, he's doing rather well also in OKC. Players like Wes Matthews was also on this team as well. So they've given up on a lot of players that end up being really solid. So it may just be the system that they're trying to run.
And that exactly leads into my next question. Do you believe that in Utah, this current Utah team, there's going to be another one of those said players where they give up too early and then moves to a different team and becomes an all-star player, or at least a starter in this league?
I can see that happening with Trey Burke. I think that I think in today's NBA, there's a lot of teams that put a lot of weight on young players that obviously haven't developed correctly, and they want them to become starters and be really, really good, really, really fast without giving them the proper route and showing them the proper way. So I can easily see that being Trey Burke, especially since they do have Dante Exum. Outside of that, I think everybody else they're probably going to keep because they put so much faith in these players. So it's not like they can't really get rid of Derek Favors at this point because, like we said, Paul Millsap and Al Jefferson left just so a player like Derek Favors could get more PT. But I think they just giving up on players way too easy has been their issue over the past few years, and not really understanding and seeing the value of these players. But I'll tell you this though, Jeremy Evans will not be that type of a player. Even though they lost
Jeremy Evans,
he will not be that type of player.
I mean, they tried. They kept him for a very, very long time, a lot longer than they probably should have. But they obviously got the better player overall with Trey Lyles in the draft. So not much loss by Jeremy Evans, but
good question. That was for someone who called an audible on the fly. That was a pretty good question.
Well, thank you.
Out here
which leads us
freestyling.
To the predictions for this season with the Utah Jazz.
Dante Exum down. It's going to be a lot on Trey Burke's shoulders, and I don't think he's going to be able to handle it. Alec Burks.
I have a feeling Bryce Cotton might be able to, play some quality minutes. They had a Sundiata Gaines game winner against the Cavs a long, long time ago. You never know. I have faith in Bryce Cotton's being a nice role player off the bench for Trey Burke, especially with Dante Exum down. So that's my bold prediction. Bryce Cotton, he's gonna be putting up some numbers, and they're gonna sleep.
I wouldn't be too surprised if they actually put Alec Burks at the starting point guard position, because it's not like he can't handle the ball to a degree, or have him at least initiating it.
Which brings into my other prediction. I really do truly believe that they should get rid of Alec Burks and try to get a traditional small forward. As long as it's just for one season, they need a traditional small forward. I really like Gordon Hayward at the 2, and Alec Burks, I think his time in Utah should be over. And they're one of those teams that either put way too much faith in a player or way too little. And Alex Burks, I think they put a little bit too much faith in him. So with that said, we'd like to thank you guys for watching. Be sure to leave a like and share it with your friends if you did enjoy. These videos do take a long time to edit and make, so it'd be greatly appreciated.
Shout out to everybody who's watching. We love the support. We love the the comments, and y'all leave in the comment section below, and the interaction that we have with you all. Shout out to Josh on the fly audible on the question. I like it. I like it. And also keep sharing and keep liking. Get the word out. Please let people know that this is what we're doing, and we will see y'all next time. Teams are getting better though, for sure. We
are getting into the interesting teams, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, we are.
So with that said, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye, guys.